Hey guys, Mark with North Star. Wanted to shoot another IFR video today. It's the destination we're going to is currently light rain and overcast at 500 feet. 10-mile visibility though, but I think it's probably about the same here. We'll get the weather here in just a second and double check. Let's listen to the weather.
Temperature 12, dew point 12, altimeter 3024. Expect an ILS approach, landing runway 20. All aircraft read back all hold short instructions and assigned altitudes. Advise on initial contact, Jeff Tango. Concord Regional Airport, latest information, Tango 1455 Zulu weather, wind 0503, visibility 2, rain mist, ceiling 600 overcast, temperature 12, dew point 12, altimeter 3024. Expect an ILS approach, landing run.
Alright, so it's 600 foot overcast here, couple mile visibility, light rain. Just a little bit better where we're going visibility wise, but the ceiling's actually lower. So we'll be shooting an approach down to basically minimums there as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through the full procedure again from clearance to all the way to touchdown. This time I'm also going to try a little bit different angle. So it's going to be more of a shot of the screen, and I'm going to use my second camera to do a little overlay of maybe like breaking out, things like that. But most of it's going to be the screenshot and then what you have over the radio with me and ATC. So it's going to be, not much to look at when you're in the cloud. So I want to file 4,000 feet, and I just file direct normally. Charlotte's going to give me a little vector around, which is easier for me to just go ahead and file direct. They're going to give me whatever they want anyway. So if you've flown with me, that's kind of my go-to move there. So anyway, looking forward to it, guys. I'll be back on here in just a minute when we start up, and we'll go ahead and we'll listen to the weather again. We'll get everything set up, and we'll go from there. All right, we'll see you guys in a second.
Hey guys, so we're all warmed up here. We've got our general route in. I just loaded direct to our destination. I filed via Preflight, and I filed Columbia as our alternate. We needed an alternate today because of the weather. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a couple screenshots, and I'll put that in there of how you determine you need an alternate, and how you go in Preflight and find if there are alternate minimums, how you actually find that in Preflight. So I'll do a couple screenshots there so you can see that. But the gist of it is you go in and you look at an approach. If you see the A in black on the approach at the airport you want to divert to, say something happened, you couldn't make it into your destination. If you see that little black A, that means it has alternate minimums. What you have to do is go to the airport and look under arrival, just like where you normally see approach, departure. You also see arrival. Click on that, and when you click on arrival, it's going to say alternate minimums, and you go through there, and it's all alphabetical, so you have to go through, find the airport, and then look at the minimums that apply for that approach at that airport. So what I'll do is I'll do a couple screenshots, and I'll put that in this video, so you guys can reference that too, because I know a lot of you use Preflight. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the weather here real quick again.
Concord Regional Airport, latest information, uniform 1558 Zulu observation, wind 050 at 5, visibility 2, rain, mist, overcast 800, temperature 12, dew point 11, altimeter 3025, ILS runway 20, approach in use, advise you have information, uniform. Concord.
All right, we'll get rid of that guy. You can't help but laugh. You just can't help it. I know you guys have watched my other videos flying out of Concord. You've heard that guy, but I still laugh every time. So, all right, I'm going to call ground here. We'll get our clearance. I'm going to go ahead and pull up here so they'll actually be able to hear and see us. We've got our... We'll go ahead and do our instrument check while we're taxiing here. All right, so both airspeed indicators are 0, both attitude indicators within 5 degrees of bank and on the horizon, and we've gauged the bottom one. Both altimeters are set to 3024 and within 75 feet of field elevation. We've got 105 on our HSI, and we have about 102 on our compass. They're within 10 degrees. All right, so we'll pull up here just onto the ramp. We'll get our clearance, and we'll go from there. Concord ground, Cirrus 1549 Hotel, like to pay your IFR clearance into Greenville downtown.
That's Cirrus 1549 Hotel.
That's affirmative.
To Greenville downtown, is that right?
That's correct.
Well, I've got a Cirrus 527 Whiskey that just came off the printer to Greenville downtown.
That would be the one. For some reason, when I went to refile it, I'm looking at my phone right now, it did file as 527 Whiskey. If you could just change that to 1549 Hotel for us, I'd appreciate it.
1549 Hotel. I'll change that and be right back.
I appreciate it. All right, so what happened there is I've got about 40 or 50 different airplanes in my phone, and when I went through and looked the first time, I realized I needed an alternate, so I went back and rebriefed and refiled. When I did that, it picked up one of the other planes.
Ground.com 2114, looking to pick up IFR to Lynchburg. We have information uniform.
I actually see now, looking back at my flight plans, that I did change it to 1549 Hotel, or change it from 1549 Hotel. So most people don't have that problem if you fly the same plane.
Cirrus 1549 Hotel, clearance available.
All right, go right ahead for 49 Hotel.
Cirrus 1549 Hotel, clear to the Greenville Downtown Airport. Hugo 3 departure as filed. Maintain 3,000, expect 4,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 128.32, squawk 5250.
All right, Hugo 3 as filed, 34 and 10, 28, 32, 5250, 1549 Hotel.
Cirrus 1549 Hotel, read back correct, ATIS uniform current, advise ready for taxi.
Roger, 400 Hotel. All right, so the Hugo 3 departure. So I'm just going to go and review that. I know what it is, but I'm going to look at it anyway. So when you have a departure procedure, same thing, you go to the airport that you're departing. So KJQF. And you guys can follow along if you have Preflight. So I loaded in KJQF, and I'm going down to departure. And I'm pulling up the Hugo 3 departure. And if you look at the bottom, I don't know if you can see it, but if you look at the bottom, it says 1 of 2. So the first screen here can be kind of complex to actually read. What I usually do first is I'll go to the second screen. The second screen is a textual, it's just the text of what the departure procedure actually is. All right, so we're going to be departing off runway 20. It's going to be a climbing left turn to 150, and then radar vectors to the assigned transition or route. Maintain 3,000. So, and they basically do that for lost comms, but it's also to get everybody flowing out. We're right under the Charlotte Bravo here, so it's not unusual for us to, or it's actually pretty much standard practice for us to get a departure procedure here. So, all right. And we don't have to load anything into the system for that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set my heading bug to 150. Actually, it's low IFR. I'm going to set my heading bug to runway heading. If it was a VFR, then I would go ahead and set it to, to the heading for the departure procedure. But since it's low IFR, I'm going to set it on the runway heading. Everything else is set up. We'll set my altitude bug at 3,000. What I do is I just go through my clearance. So Hugo 3, I've got that taken care of as filed. We can file direct. I've got 3,000 set, 2832s in standby on COM 1, and 5250 for the squawk. All right, and that is in. All right, so everything is good to go there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and taxi out, and we'll do our run-up, and we'll get ready to get out of here. Ground Cirrus 1549 Hotel is ready to taxi. We're up at the hangar.
Cirrus 1549 Hotel ground, runway 20, taxi via Alpha.
20 via Alpha, 400 Hotel. All right, guys, so we're hold short of the runway. We're all set up. Run-up's complete. Tower Cirrus 1549 Hotel, hold short 20, ready to go.
November 1549 Hotel. Okay, standby 1, working on release.
And 150 is going to be our turnout. This is the G6 or a G5, so I'm gonna wait till I get to 600 feet. So that will be 1,300 indicated.
Cirrus 1549 Hotel, fly heading 150, maintain 3,000, clear for takeoff 20.
150, 3,000, clear for takeoff 20, 1549 Hotel. All right, so last we heard the ceiling is 800, so I'm gonna expect to be in the clouds about 1,500 feet. So pretty much right after takeoff, I'm gonna be going ahead and getting set up to be in the clouds. Reads live. Everything's in the green. Hitting on center line. The only thing I did forget to do was hit my toggle button.
Sirius 49 Hotel, contact Charlotte departure. Have a good day.
You want departure after you, appreciate it, 49 Hotel. Alright, and there we are in the clouds. Alright, going over to departure. I'm going to go ahead and swing my heading bug over to 150. Flaps coming up. Departure Sirius 1549 Hotel is 1.5, climb for 3000, turning 150.
Sirius 1549 Hotel, Charlotte departure, ident.
Ident 49 Hotel.
Number 49 Hotel, radar contact miles south of the Concord Airport, leaving 1700, Charlotte altimeter is 3020.
3020, thanks. Alright, I'm going to go and get my autopilot set up, coming through 2,000 feet. 3020. And I personally like to hand fly for the first little bit, and you know,
Time 6214, climb and maintain 7,000.
7,000, 6214.
and I'm going to go ahead and get set up for cruise here. What they're going to do is they're going to clear me up to 4,000 as soon as I do that. It usually works out like that, so I'm going to go ahead and get set up here, and then 10 seconds after that, they'll clear me for cruise. Or to get up to 4,000 for cruise. Alright, so we're set up in cruise.
Charlotte departure, King Air 207 Charlie Mike out of 2,500 for 4,000.
207 Charlie Mike, Charlotte departure, Charlotte approach, roger. And advising you have the weather at Monroe and clear approach request.
Alright, we'll call you here in just a minute.
7 Charlie Mike, you are radar contact. Number 49 Hotel, turn right heading 180.
180, 49 Hotel. Alright, so as I'm cruising here, I'm going to go ahead and start getting stuff set up for the other airport that I'm going to, which is Scramble Downtown, JQF-GMU. So I'm going to start out by getting frequencies in.
And Charlotte, King Air 207 Charlie Mike, we have the weather at Monroe. First thing we'd like to do is proceed to Budkey for the RNAV runway 5.
Number 7 Charlie Mike, roger, expect the RNAV runway 5 approach at Monroe.
Alright, we'll check the weather real quick.
Morning, departure, citation 484, Sierra Fox, 2,000 for 30,000 off Rowan County.
Alright, so it's currently 6 mile visibility, light rain, and 500 overcast. The wind is 110 at 6.
Number 484 Sierra Fox, Charlotte departure, I'll see you.
So it's kind of a toss-up between 19er.
Number 484 Sierra Fox, ident observed, radar contact.
01, 19er's favored just slightly. We'll plan on 19er. So let's look at the approaches we have for 19.
Climb and maintain 6,000.
6,000.
Alright, so we have an LPB for 19. So they may be using 01 just because it has an ILS. But we'll kind of wait and see. But we have approaches we can get into either side. Let me check the minimums on my iPhone for the LPB. Alright, LPB gets you down to 400 feet. My guess is they're probably going to be using the ILS. But
Number 40 Hotel Papa, Charlotte approach, Charlotte altimeter is 3020. I missed your check-in, advise you have the weather and safe approach request. Number 49 Hotel, turn right heading at 210.
210, 49 Hotel. Alright, so right now they're just vectoring around Charlotte's airspace here. I'll show you what that looks like. So they're just vectoring around Charlotte's airspace right now.
Hotel, turn right heading 220.
220, 49 Hotel.
Number 7 Charlie Mike, turn right heading 180 and expect the right T-fix there, Mosey, for traffic.
Alright, so we're slowly getting us on course here.
We'll expect Mosey then for 7
You can see outside.
40 Foxtrot, contact Charlotte departure 124.0.
24 nothing.
Definitely IFR out.
7 Charlie Mike, how many approaches are you going to do at Monroe?
What we'd like to do is first this RNAV to runway 5 with the Polish mist, and then just give us vectors back around for an ILS to 5, and then on that mist we'll be back to Charlotte.
Roger.
All right, so they just cleared us from 3,000 to 4,000. We're on the western side of Charlotte, class Bravo. I'm just going to set my indicator speed at 130. We'll just do a slow climb up. It's only 1,000 feet. I'm going to make sure to get my altitude callouts. Alright, I'm going to double check boost pump on. I'm going to switch tanks. Right tank, boost pump off. Verifying fuel flow stabilizes. It'll drop a little bit when I flip it off, but it will stabilize. I haven't been able to pick up the weather yet. We're currently 56 miles out. But as soon as we are able to get the weather here, we'll do so. Still unsure what approach we're going to get. Like I said, I'm assuming runway 1 ILS. Let's see if there's a new weather out for Greenville. This one's 50 minutes old. The XM, so not really sure what we're going to get. Alright, so I got 500 feet left to climb. And like you see on my other videos, I like to do 1,000, 500, 200. And as some of you will notice, I missed my altitude callouts on my initial climb to 3,000. So don't be that guy. Got 200 feet left to go. And normally I do full power climb, but I'm not in a hurry today. Alright, so that ding we heard meant 200 feet left to go. So we're getting ready to level out here. And we got 53 miles left, 26 minutes at current speed. That's going to change once we level out here again. It's going to slowly accelerate because I'm still...
November 1549er Hotel, contact the Greer approach, 119.4, good day.
19.4, have you going 49er Hotel.
DVA.
Greer, Cirrus 1549er Hotel, 4,000.
Cirrus 1549er Hotel for approach, Greenville, altimeter 3019, expect the ILS Zulu 1 approach, verify you have X-ray.
We'll expect the ILS Zulu 1, and we haven't been able to pick up the weather yet. We'll let you know, 49er Hotel.
49er Hotel, roger, thank you.
Alright, so like I guess they are going to give us the ILS. The main reason for that is not every aircraft is equipped with GPS, and also it's pretty close to minimum, so. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and load that approach, and then we'll brief it. ILS Zulu. They're going to give us vectors. I'm going to leave minimums off. I'll set those later after I brief the approach. And I'm going to go ahead and load it. Alright, so I'm going to pull up on Preflight here. You can follow along if you want. Alright, so ILS minimums are 1216. So I'm going to go over to timer ref here. I'm going to go down, set minimums, baro, and then I'm going to set in 1220. It goes in 10 feet at a time, so 1220 I don't have to hit enter. I just hit timer ref, and that'll display right here once I'm shooting the approach. Alright, so let's go through and brief the approach. Alright, so we're shooting the ILS Zulu into Greenville downtown. 1097 is in the active on the nav side. Final approach course will be 006. We'll verify that we're coming in. Touchdown zone elevation is 1015. And the minimums are going to get us down to
459er 4 Foxtrot clear approach,
201.
3017.
Alright, missed approach. Climb to 1500, then climbing right turn to 2900 to Judd Key, outer marker, and hold. Alright, so it's going to be a right turn around. So 1500, then 2900 to Judd Key. Alright, tower is 19.9, and we're on with the approach right now. So I'm going to wait on tower. We may get switched one more time. Alright, so it'll be 2900, and then going down to 2300 for the intercept. And that looks good. So what we're going to do is we've got our minimum set, and we've got 1097. We just need to make sure it IDs. 006 is our final approach course. They're going to vector us to the south of the airport. I'm leaving my flight plan screen up. Split screen.
4802, proceed direct Augusta.
Direct Augusta.
And I'll show you what that looks like. This is kind of my preferred. I use charts on Preflight, and then I'll leave this screen up. So it's got all my fixes in it, as well as a moving map that I can range and zoom around. Just helps with situational awareness, shows traffic and everything else on there. You can go down the map, and you can set up for it to show whatever you want, but that's kind of my go-to. And I also have weather METAR down there, so makes it pretty nice. As you can see, still IMC out. And I'll have the other camera set up for the approach, so you can see the approach on the way in. Alright, so I'm going to start getting prepped here. If I was listening to the radio, I'd have it off now. About 15 minutes out, so now is when I'm kind of getting into, go mode. Putting down the newspaper, whatever you were doing, stop doing it and fly the airplane. Is single pilot, it can get really busy. Say we had an autopilot failure or something else came up, we'd be really busy really quick. So I'm going to go ahead and try to listen to the weather again through the manually squelch it there.
Airport information X-ray 1553 observation weather wind 11066 6 miles right range and mist. Stop position 2,500 overcast, temperature 140.13, altimeter 3019. Only one is in use for arrivals and departures. ILS Zulu approaching you. 500 known type for information X-ray. Downtown airport information X-ray 15.
Alright, so I believe it said 6 mile visibility and 500 foot overcast. So this approach should work out well for that. We'll still going to plan on going mist just like we do on any approach. I'm just going to call the approach controller and let her know that we've got X-ray. Approach 49er Hotel is X-ray at Greenville downtown.
49er Hotel, roger, thank you.
Alright, so I've got my plate up on my iPhone. I've got an iPhone 6 Plus. So it's the big fat iPhone. I just kind of prefer it so I don't have to carry an iPad mini, or if I had my own plane that I was flying all the time, I'd probably just buy an iPad mini and leave it in the plane, or leave it specifically for the plane. You can just plug it in the plane. But for me, it's just a hassle to travel with two units. I did it for a long time with my iPad, and it's not beneficial for me. So.
Here's 49er Hotel, fly heading 250, vector ILS, runway 1 approach.
250 for the vector for the ILS, 49er Hotel. Alright, 250. So I'm going to do a couple things here. So I'm going to go ahead and obviously get 250 in. So she said I'm getting vectors for the ILS now. So in my head, that just cues a, kind of sets a light off or a bell and tells me I can go ahead and activate the approach. So what I'm not doing is I'm not hitting approach mode on my autopilot. I'm just activating the approach in the system, so I'll have my inbound course on my HSI, and it'll be searching for that. So I'm going to go to procedure, and I'm going to activate vector to final. Alright, so I'm verifying up here 006 on our course, and it switched over to localizer 1, and localizer 1 is 1097, which is our localizer frequency. We're still waiting on it to ID. Alright, in the new system in .23, I do like to go ahead and load vectors to final. It loads not only the final approach fix, like most systems would do, but it also loads any fix out beyond that. So like, what, Sprikey is a fix out beyond that on this one. So it also loads that in there. So if they told me to go direct to Sprikey, I could do that. Same thing if I'm going into a busy airport, say Charlotte, they've got like 3 fixes outside the final. It'll load all 3 of those fixes. So if any time they told me to go ahead and go direct to them, it's part of my flight plan and I can just go direct to it. It just makes life a lot easier. I'll show you on the flight plan what I mean here. So before when we loaded vectors to final on some of the old systems, it would say VTF and then JQF. But with this system, it actually loads any fix that's beyond JQF. So if they do have YO wide, or whatever the case might be, it's actually already in there.
Approach, Cherokee 92 Whiskey, you got a pilot report for you.
Cherokee 92 Whiskey, go ahead.
At 8,000 feet, we're in between layers, just very trace precip and plus 10 degrees.
Roger, thank you.
So he's at 8,000 plus 10 degrees.
Departure
I'm at 4,000 plus 9, so you can see there's a big inversion today.
2.4 for 5.
Ground 4735, career departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 7,000.
And it's only 14
right
on the ground.
090.
So
7,000 and 090.
it's always important to check those QTs.
Piedmont 48.
Because you may put yourself on the ground for a flight that you could easily safely have made.
Over to Columbia, good day, Piedmont 48.
If you use a standard lapse rate of 2 degrees per 1,000 feet, a lot of times that doesn't work out. Alright, I just got some engine roughness here. Something's going on. One of my EGTs is rising quickly. I'm going to go to my engine page. Number 3 EGT is rising here. It's only a single EGT rising, so I'm guessing it's a plug and not a magneto. There, it just dropped down. It must have had a little carbon buildup on it. So now it dropped back down, and the engine got smoother. So that's just something. If you feel the engine's not right, go to the engine page first. So doing it again here. I'm going to show you guys. Something's going on with it. Number 4 or number 3. I'm sorry. So right now it's smoothed out and it dropped down to normal to 1340, and it was up to about 1440 when it was running rough. I don't know if it's going to do it again. So checking everything else, oil pressure is good, all the other temperatures are good, CHT on that cylinder looks good. Just keeping an eye on it. Alright, so it's running smoothly now. I'm going to let it be here. If it does start running rough, I'm going to try to get the camera over so you guys can see it while I'm dealing with it. Alright, so we are 7 minutes out, so now I'm keeping that in the back of my mind as well. So if something did come up, the first thing I'll be doing is declare an emergency. So if that cylinder started running really rough, I would go Richard peak to try to get it to smooth out. If that didn't work, I'm declaring an emergency and let them know I'm having engine roughness and an issue with number 3 cylinder. That would give me priority to get in and get down. Alright, you can see the CDI starting to flash. That means it's starting to pick up the frequency. It hasn't ID'd it yet though. And when it does ID it, then we'll be good to go there. That's the last thing we're waiting on. So the reason I thought it was a plug and not a mag is it was only on one cylinder. If all the cylinders would have started going up, that would lead me to believe it was a magneto.
Level 10,000.
Mercury 6009, clear approach for altimeter 3017, expect ILS runway 4 approach.
But just with a single cylinder doing it,
we'll
usually it's a plug. Could be a wire, but usually it's a plug. But get her
49 Hotel, fly heading 230, descend and maintain 3000.
230 down to 3000, 49 Hotel. Alright, so I'm going to fly this at normal speeds, about 120 knots is where I'm going to slow down to now.
Continue descent, descend and maintain
4000. Start my descent.
4000, Blue Street 5135.
And I'm just going to bring the power back to about 30%. Alright, so I'm getting set up about 110 knots. I like to be about 110 for the intercept. And obviously, you know, once you get more comfortable with approaches, you can speed up. But this is how I teach my initial instruments, or if we're doing a transition over to this airplane. I teach you 110 for the intercept. The reason I do 110 is the book says 100 knots. If you do set up at 110, then when you get your first notch of flaps, then that'll bleed 10 knots of airspeed off for you and make your life a little bit easier so you don't have to keep adjusting the power. So it's going to...
49 Hotel, fly heading 270.
270, 49 Hotel. All right, 270.
AC 4364 at 9,000, reduce speed to 210 knots or less for sequence.
And one of the mistakes I see a lot of new pilots making is they'll kind of take their time on the turns, and you know, ATC sees a dot on the screen. They do anticipate a little bit, but they're expecting you to make turns when they ask you to. So you know, don't take your time on the radio and then sit around and play with the heading bug. Go ahead and set the turn. You saw my turn was set before I even let go of the radio. Do it quickly. It just helps them out, helps you out, makes life a little bit easier on both sides. So, all right, we're set up about 110 knots. Our missed approach is climb to 1500, then right turn to 2900 back to Judkey. And Judkey is showing up in there as a missed approach hold. All right, so we're ID'd. It's ID'd on nav 1 and nav 2. We're good to go there. 006 is in. And my barrel minimum is at 1220. I'm just going to verify those. Those did pop up. And 1216.
Approach 498 Delta Charlie with the 11 10,000
so that does check.
Alpha.
498 Delta Charlie, clear approach for altimeter 3016. Expect ILS runway 4 approach. Descend and maintain 9,000.
We'll expect ILS to 4 going down to 9,000. 498 Delta Charlie.
And she told me nothing about intercepting the localizer, so if she doesn't tell me to intercept, I'm going to fly right through it. I may give her a warning here, another 15 seconds or so, or just a heads up, hey, coming up on it, but typically, you know, they'll do it for spacing.
5180. Cirrus 49er Hotel, 7 miles from JQF, fly heading 340, maintain 2,500 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS Zulu 1 approach.
All right, 342.5, clear for the ILS Zulu 49er Hotel.
Hawker 752, Mike Taylor.
All right, so we're turning in right at 340. She cleared us for the approach, so I'm going to hit approach.
Heading 310.
It's going to fly to heading, so now I'm in heading and localizer, and it's armed the glide slope. And I'm going to start my descent down to 2,500. I'm going to do that at about 700 feet a minute.
Right turn, 310.
And I'm going to reduce my power a little bit. I want to try to keep my airspeed about 110 knots. And as soon as my glide slope comes alive, then I'm going to go ahead and boost mixture first notch flaps.
Landing Greenville downtown.
All right, localizer's alive. All right, so we're in approach mode.
49 Hotel, contact Greenville Tower 119.9er.
Over to Tower 49 Hotel.
Or 2 Mike Tango, proceed direct volunteer.
Greenville Tower, Cirrus 1549 Hotel, inbound ILS.
1549 Hotel, Greenville Tower, runway 1, cleared to land.
Clear to land 0149 Hotel.
542 Mike Alpha, Greenville ground, heavy clearance if you're ready.
All right, glide slope's alive, boost pump on, mixture rich.
542 Mike Alpha,
first notch flaps coming in.
Via as filed. Initial heading 030, climb maintain 3,000.
Glide slope is alive.
10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency be Greer approach.
And now
8.8.
it should, once it gets stabilized again, be at 100 knots. And I'm just going to let it stay at 100 knots all the way down. I'll bring my power back to about 20%. This is a normally aspirated airplane. So about 20% power will be about what I'm looking for.
Number 2 Mike Alpha, read back
descent. 1500, climbing right turn 2900 on the mist. I should break out about 1500 feet indicated.
Number 2 Mike Alpha, runway 1, taxi via Alpha 5 Alpha.
Alright, so speed slowly leading off to 100. Glide slope's almost coming in. I'm right on course. We should have a right crosswind when we land as well. Alright, so it's captured the glide. I can see it flashing now. I'm going to reduce my power to 20%. And it may accelerate here just a little bit as it catches it. It'll oscillate just a little bit, and then it'll stabilize out. So I've got a 16 knot tailwind, so I'm actually going to need less than 20%.
Altitude.
Your power setting is always going to be based off of what your descent rate is, and that's always based off of what your ground speed's doing. So right now our ground speed is 126 knots, so I'm going to need quite a bit of power out. All right, so I've got 1,000 feet to go. My hands are on the controls. My left hand is on the yoke, right hand is on the throttle. Basically looking for a reason to go missed at this point. If something doesn't look right, something's not going right, I go full scale on localizer or glide. I'm going missed. All right, still a little fast. I'm just going to make a small reduction. And just be patient with you when you make the little reductions. You know, it takes a little bit to bleed it off. Plane's going to oscillate a little bit. All right, and got 500 feet left to descend. Just making small little power changes. Now our tailwind's only 9 knots. It was 16, so my descent rate's going to flatten a little bit, and I'm going to need to carry just a touch more power to maintain that approximately 100 knots. All right, missed approach is 1220. Got 300 feet to go. And still nothing out the front. Landing lights on, strobe lights are on. Flaps are at 50. Still nothing out front. 200 feet to go. And field in sight. All right, I've got the runway and we're already cleared to land. I'll walk my power out. Autopilot's coming all the way off. Below 110. Last notch of flaps coming in. All right, boost mixture, flaps confirmed. Letting the airplane slow up.
Minimums.
Right crosswind, so I'm going to need right aileron and left rudder. Runway is clear. And we have arrived. All right, guys, so that was a pretty cool IFR flight. Pretty simple, but it was kind of showing you all the different aspects of it there. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and please follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/NorthStarAero. And
November 49 Hotel, where are you parking?
I'm going to Douglas Duncan Aviation.
November 49 Hotel, understand you're familiar, taxi to parking frequency.
Roger, will stay with you. Taxi park. All right, and I'm also now brokering aircraft with Steel Aviation, steelaviation.com. If you guys are looking to buy or sell aircraft, I'd love to chat with you. I'm always willing to help out people looking to buy or sell. Just general information, or if you're ready to make that jump, I'm definitely here to help, walk you through the whole process. But feel free to email me there, or you can contact me via my North Star info as well. And we appreciate it, guys, and leave comments below. Let us know what you think, and if you have any questions. All right, fly safe, guys.